everybody, I'm your man, Dennis Pitzenbarger, and I'm here at the 50th SEMA show right here inside the Las Vegas Convention Center. With me on stage is SEMA Central's Zane Clark. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, thanks, man.
It's great to see you. You know, you and I have more passion for what you do with SEMA than I think you understand. I have had an opportunity to go to local trade schools. I live in the Portland, Oregon area. I don't know how many people know that, but I've had a chance to talk to youth classes and trade schools up there. I've had a chance to talk to high schools. And, you know, for a person who spent literally half of their senior year in high school in foundry class, in welding, in auto mechanics, both small and actual car mechanic classes, you know, it's an educational source that I think is going away. And I know you are literally the tip of the spear to change that. And
Absolutely.
To get youth educated. Talk a little bit, tell everybody a little bit about what you do, because everyone here needs to know how important it is, that what you're doing is so important to the youth and bringing them into this industry.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. There's this big passion divide almost. People from our generation, right, they grew up in the garage, the excitement, their parents showed them the cars. That was their lifestyle. It's a little different nowadays with the iPhone and the electronics replacing that kind of community that was built around cars. So what we really try to do at SEMA Education is kind of go back to that grassroots effort and reinvigorate that passion for our industry, right? So we ask people like yourself, members of SEMA, local businesses, to go talk to students and kind of pass along that passion, let them know about the opportunities that are available in this industry. Because you know better than most, this is a fun industry to work in. People love it. Dude, if you get to work around cars all day and hang out with cool people, that's a great way to make a living.
And there's more than one way to educate that.
Yeah.
It's not just be a welder, a fabricator, an engine builder, a cylinder head guy. You can be a tire changer on a cup team. You can be the marketing team behind that cup team. I'm just using cup for an instance. You can do so much in this industry that you still have to use that education. And it can be part of that education that leads you into the automotive industry. I mean, I really do. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, man, what happened? It's something that I hold very close to my heart, because it infuriates me when I go to some of these classes. Even some of the trade schools, they're very low-key, low-cost trade schools up in my area, and I'll talk to a class of 30 kids. And there's always that 5 in the back that their parents have even paid for them to be there.
Yeah.
And they're more worried about when they're going to get their hoop time after school. And I tell them, why are you here then? I mean, what you have to have a plan B and C and D and E. And if you come into this industry and with guidance from you and everyone from SEMA, you can have plan A through Z to find a job in this industry.
You know, I don't want to be too hard on him, Dennis. I think I might have been one of that kids in the back of the room, and not until I follow through. My parents paid for a lot of stuff too that I didn't follow up on. But you're absolutely right. We'll go to these schools, and then we'll talk to employers in the industry, and they tell us, you know what? We can teach them everything they need to know, but if they don't come in with that passion and willingness to work, they're worthless, more or less, right? We need somebody that has a good foundation, that's willing to put in the time and wants to learn and is going to step up. So to your point, we've gone out to schools from time to time, and we've had industry leaders personally give them their business card and say, hey, you know, I'm willing to mentor you, just give me a call. And it happens from time to time where they don't make that call, they don't follow up to what could be a great contact that will lead to a tremendous career. But on the flip side of that, you may find somebody that's sitting in the back of the room, quiet, self-reserved, that'll walk up to you afterwards and ask you some meaningful questions, and you can see that passion is coming out. And that's what our industry is about. How do we get those young people that maybe aren't the most vocal or don't follow in the traditional education system or reading, writing, arithmetic, how do we get them into our industry and embrace them? Because those kind of young people with that passion is what's going to continue to drive our industry, absolutely.
I want to talk really quick with you because I mentioned in the beginning about all the things I did in my high school as a senior year. How do we change that? How do we put foundry class and welding class and mechanics class back in our schools as something to lead? Because, you know, hey, I'll joke, I ain't got book smarts, but I got a lot of street smarts, and I got a lot of smarts that I've got from the shop. You know, I was a body and paint guy. That's what I wanted to do. How do we put a lot of this back into our schools? How do we change that to where they have an opportunity to get a head start before they go to, I see them right here, before they go to a WildTech, before they go to an OTI, before they go to these schools? How do we change that? How does SEMA help change that?
So it's a big question and a big opportunity, I think, for the association and the automotive industry as a whole. I think at the end of the day, Dennis, what we really need to do is find out all these different programs that are going on, and there's many, and they're all doing good work, but how can SEMA as an organization bring a lot of them together so you can get some mass movement on all these programs rather than having all these individual things in silos. But what SEMA does specifically is we're starting to go out, we have to reach students younger and younger. So we recently had a SEMA car camp at our association, and that was targeting like middle school kids, and there's great programs out there, but how do we create those touch points when they're younger? So hey, it's not necessarily that they're going to end up for a career in our industry, but you got to get that car bug going with them a little bit, right? Plant that seed, so maybe one day they'll grow up and they'll just like think cars are cool, and then when they start thinking about a career, it'll be like, hey, I like cars, maybe I can do something in there. But it all starts with that continuing education that we reach the students younger. So much of our resources and efforts moving forward are going to be how do we reach that younger, that youth engagement audience, so to create this kind of long line into our industry.
And that's what I love about that is you have to plant that seed early.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking a couple years ago to a Ford executive that told me they did a study that 8 out of 10 people under the age of 25 don't know how to drive a stick.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm not talking about do you love or not love, want to get into or not get into the auto industry, but just even that engagement with the car. And I think that comes from not looking at it as a utensil, not looking at it as something that I just worry about after I get home or before I go to school, but letting them engage in that. And I think that that's where you guys really come in, is because we can see you engage in these young people so they know that, I mean, it's the simplest thing, go out and change your own oil.
Yeah.
You never know where that might lead, what path that might lead you down.
Well, you nailed it. People look at the cars now, the younger generation, to a large extent, and it's just a utility on how to get from point A to point B. They're not interacting with the vehicle. It's not a lifestyle for them. So there's a lot of organizations that are out there and doing a great job. If you look at what Formula Drift is doing and the young people they're bringing in, how do we go to where the young people are and instill that passion or open up their eyes just to have fun with the car and make it more of a lifestyle, something that they can embrace, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I can't stress enough, especially with you, like I said, being the tip of this spear, there's so many jobs in this industry that aren't necessarily a mechanical one or a clerical one or a face one. There's a lot of things you can do in this industry, and it's great to see you guys, and especially you and your team in SEMA, just pushing this forward. My last thing before we go, because the whole thing about this year has been 50 years.
Yeah.
50 years, and between what all of us have helped build, and especially you, help building for the future with our youth, what does that 50 years mean to you?
It's just, it's a crazy milestone just to take a step back and look at how the industry has evolved. So there's been many times throughout the specialty equipment industry that they said, hey, our industry's got 5 more years left. You hear that over and over.
Yes,
but it continues to kind of push the envelope and kind of throw it in the face of these naysayers. So when you look at it, it's an accomplishment, and it's a testament to what everybody puts in. And I feel good about the next 50 years. Yesterday we had a student lunch, and we had over 1,000 students in here, just filled with passion and excitement. We asked them how many is this the first time to SEMA show. More than 3/4 of them raised their hand. And we're planting those seeds young. You know, if you come to this show, you can't help but walk away but be excited. So the 50 years is a tremendous reflection on how we've grown, but it's also laying the foundation of what we're going to continue and build with the young people that we bring in. And I feel really good about it, man.
You know what, and I'm excited about that. Somebody told me you had to look at the camera and say hi to Mom.
Mom, how you doing? You probably thought you'd see me on more of a mug shot in a jail, but hey, this will work.
Hey, you know what? Zane is not either on a mugshot or in the back of a milk carton, so it's good.
Perfect.
Zane, thank you so much for coming by. On behalf of Zane Clark and everybody at SEMA doing a great job, I'm Dennis Pinzenbarger. More from SEMA after this.
Thank you.